Most people wake up every day believing that control is the key to peace. They try to control outcomes, people, timing, emotions, and even the future itself. When life does not obey, frustration arises, anger follows, exhaustion becomes normal. This is the first illusion you must see clearly. Control, as most people understand it, is not strength. It is fear disguised as authority. Fear of uncertainty, fear of loss, fear of standing still while the world moves. You push against life because you believe resistance proves power. But observe the body when you resist. The jaw tightens, the shoulders rise, the breath becomes shallow. Energy leaks in every direction. The river does not care how hard you push. It does not respond to effort alone. It responds to alignment. When you fight reality, you divide yourself. One part of you faces what is, another part argues with it. This internal conflict is where suffering begins. True discipline does not start with force. It starts with honesty. Ask yourself, am I acting from clarity or from fear? The mind that demands control is a mind that does not trust itself. It believes that without domination, collapse will follow. But life does not require domination. It requires understanding. When you stop trying to bend the river, you finally have the space to observe its direction, and observation restores power. Control the mind first, then life becomes manageable.
Many people misunderstand flow. They think flowing with life means giving up standards, ambition, or strength. They believe surrender is equal to defeat. This belief comes from ego, not wisdom. Flow is not passivity. Flow is intelligence in motion. Water is soft, yet nothing outlasts it. It does not confront the mountain with aggression. It studies it, it adapts, and over time it reshapes what once seemed immovable. This is real power. Force seeks immediate results. Flow seeks sustainability. A forceful mind burns fast and collapses early. A flowing mind remains calm under pressure and endures. Flow requires presence. You cannot flow while trapped in the past or anxious about the future. You must be here, alert, aware, and responsive. This is why flow demands discipline. Without discipline, surrender becomes laziness. With discipline, surrender becomes precision. When you stop resisting, perception sharpens. You notice timing. You sense opportunity. You act with less effort and greater impact. Flow does not mean you abandon direction. It means you stop fighting unnecessary battles. Strength is not loud. Strength is efficient. When the mind is aligned, action becomes simple. Simple does not mean easy. It means clean. And clean movement wastes no energy. This is why those who master flow appear calm, yet cannot be stopped. Every moment you resist life, you pay a price. Not immediately, but inevitably. Resistance drains energy silently. You may not notice it at first, but over time, fatigue becomes your default state. You feel tired without knowing why, unmotivated without reason, disconnected without explanation. This is the cost of swimming against the current. Resistance is not always loud. Sometimes it appears as overthinking, sometimes as bitterness, sometimes as the need to prove yourself right. When you resist reality, you live in constant reaction. You are never ahead, only responding. This keeps the nervous system in survival mode. A mind in survival cannot create, it can only defend. Notice how resistance narrows perception. You stop seeing options. You fixate on obstacles. Your world becomes smaller, heavier, tighter. This is why many people feel trapped even when opportunities exist. They are not blocked by circumstances. They are blocked by opposition within. Self-mastery begins when you stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start asking, "What is this teaching me?" The river does not punish the swimmer who fights it. The swimmer punishes himself. When resistance dissolves, energy returns. Not because life became easier, but because you stopped wasting force. Clarity replaces frustration. Calm replaces urgency. Direction replaces confusion. This is the moment strength becomes quiet.
Flow is not accidental. It is cultivated. Many seek effortless living without disciplined foundations. This is why they drift instead of flow. Drifting has no direction. Flow has structure. True flow is built on self-discipline. Discipline is not restriction. It is alignment between intention and action. When your habits support your values, resistance disappears. You no longer argue with yourself. You move as one. Morning routines, breath control, physical stillness, mental observation. These are not rituals, they are training grounds. Through discipline, the mind becomes familiar with stillness, and stillness allows awareness. Awareness reveals timing. You stop forcing progress, you begin recognizing moments. This is how masters move with precision while others rush blindly. Discipline teaches patience. Patience refines judgment. Judgment shapes action. A disciplined mind does not react emotionally. It responds intelligently. This is why flow feels calm but powerful, because nothing is wasted. When discipline and flow merge, effort decreases while effectiveness increases. You no longer chase life, you walk with it. And those who observe you may think you are lucky, but luck is simply preparation meeting the moment. Many believe self-mastery means controlling emotions by force. They suppress anger, they hide fear, they deny sadness. But suppression is not mastery, it is delayed chaos. What you push down does not disappear, it waits. True mastery begins with observation. When emotion arises, do not label it as good or bad. Do not rush to act. Do not seek distraction. Sit with it. Notice how emotion is energy moving through the body, a tightening in the chest, a heat in the stomach, a restless breath. When you observe without judgment, the emotion loses its grip. It no longer controls you. You control the space around it. This is how warriors remain calm in pressure, not by becoming emotionless, but by becoming aware. Emotion only overwhelms when it is unconscious. Once conscious, it becomes information, a signal, a guide. Anger may reveal boundaries being crossed. Fear may signal unpreparedness. Sadness may indicate attachment. Flow is interrupted when emotions are resisted or indulged. Flow is restored when emotions are understood. This practice transforms reaction into response. Response carries wisdom. Reaction carries regret. Mastery is not silence of emotion. It is clarity within emotion. The mind seeks control because it fears uncertainty. It plans excessively. It predicts outcomes. It clings to expectations. Yet life does not move in straight lines. It moves like water, adaptive, responsive, alive. When you try to control the river, you lose awareness of the shore. Control narrows vision. Letting go expands perception. Letting go does not mean giving up. It means releasing attachment to outcomes. When you release outcomes, attention returns to the present, and in the present, clarity lives. Most mistakes are made not because of ignorance, but because of fixation. You miss signals, you ignore timing, you force actions before readiness. This creates friction. Those who move with flow understand timing is more powerful than speed. They wait without impatience. They act without hesitation. Letting go allows intuition to speak. Intuition is not mystical. It is accumulated awareness. When control softens, sensitivity sharpens. You sense when to move forward, when to pause, when to change course. The river does not ask where it will end. It trusts its movement, and so must you. Direction is revealed not by control, but by presence.
Many people fear stillness. They confuse it with laziness, with falling behind, with doing nothing. But stillness is not stagnation. Stillness is preparation. In nature, the predator does not rush. It waits. It observes. It conserves energy. Stillness sharpens perception. When you slow down, the mind stops chasing noise. Thoughts settle. Patterns reveal themselves. This is why clarity often comes not in action, but in pause. Most people move constantly to avoid discomfort. They fill silence with distraction. They fill space with words. They fill time with urgency. Yet urgency is rarely aligned with wisdom. Stillness trains patience. Patience trains restraint. Restraint trains power. A restless mind leaks energy. A still mind gathers it. When you cultivate stillness, reactions soften. Decisions become cleaner. Emotions lose volatility. You stop needing immediate answers. You allow understanding to arrive. This is where flow deepens. Because flow is not constant movement, it is rhythmic movement. Advance, pause, observe, adjust. Stillness teaches when not to act, a skill more valuable than knowing when to move. Those who master stillness command presence. They speak less, but when they do, words carry weight. They act less, but when they do, actions are precise. Stillness is not empty. It is full of awareness.
The rigid mind breaks. The flexible mind flows. Life does not reward stubbornness. It rewards adaptability. Water does not argue with obstacles. It moves around them, over them, through them. Adaptation is not weakness. It is intelligence in motion. Those who resist change suffer longer than necessary. They cling to identities, to plans, to versions of themselves that no longer fit. Flow requires shedding. What served you before may now slow you down. What protected you once may now limit you. Adaptation begins with humility, the willingness to admit, I must change. This does not mean abandoning principles. It means refining methods. The adaptable mind remains calm in uncertainty. It does not panic when structure dissolves. It rebuilds. Instead of asking, how do I restore the old? It asks, what is required now? This mindset transforms chaos into opportunity. Adaptation sharpens intuition. You listen more. You observe deeper. You respond faster. This is why adaptable individuals appear composed under pressure.
They are not attached to outcomes, only to awareness. Flow strengthens when resistance fades and flexibility remains. The river reaches the ocean not by force, but by persistence and adjustment. And so will you.
Attachment disguises itself as care, as responsibility, as loyalty. But beneath it often lives fear. Fear of loss, fear of change, fear of standing alone. Attachment tightens the grip of the mind. It turns preference into dependence. It turns desire into demand. When expectations are strong, suffering follows closely. Detachment is not indifference. It is clarity without possession. To detach is to engage fully, without clinging to outcomes. You give your best, then you release the result. This is how freedom is preserved. Attachment creates inner conflict. You want control, yet life moves freely. This contradiction generates tension. Detachment dissolves that tension. You still act, you still care, but you are no longer internally hostage to what happens next. Observe how attachment fuels anxiety. The mind constantly checks, is this secure? Will this last? What if I lose it? Detachment quiets these questions. It anchors attention in effort, not outcome. When effort becomes the focus, performance improves. Presence deepens. Joy returns. This is why masters appear calm regardless of circumstance. They do not build identity on possessions, roles, or approval. They move lightly through life. Nothing owns them. When the river floods, they adjust. When it dries, they adapt. But they never cling to one form. Freedom is not having everything. Freedom is needing nothing to remain whole.
Suffering often begins with refusal. Refusal to accept what is. The mind creates stories, projections, expectations of how life should be. Reality rarely agrees. When illusion collides with truth, pain emerges. Alignment with reality is an act of courage. It requires honesty without comfort. To see clearly, you must stop negotiating with facts. Reality does not need your approval. It moves regardless. The question is not whether reality will change, but whether you will resist or adapt. Those who live in illusion waste energy arguing with existence. Those aligned with reality conserve strength. Alignment sharpens strategy. You see what is available, what is not, where effort matters, where it does not. This prevents emotional exhaustion. Acceptance does not mean passivity. It means starting from truth. Once you stand on truth, movement becomes effective. You stop chasing fantasies. You stop fighting conditions. You work with what exists. This is the foundation of flow. Illusion demands force. Reality rewards cooperation. When you align with reality, decisions simplify. Choices become clear. The mind quiets. You no longer ask, why is this unfair? You ask, what is required now? That question unlocks action. The river does not argue with gravity. It uses it. And so must you.
Life has rhythm. Breath moves in and out. Day turns to night. Effort alternates with rest. When you ignore rhythm, you burn out. When you honor it, energy renews itself. Many people live in constant push, always striving, always chasing, always tense. This is not strength. This is imbalance. True mastery is knowing when to apply effort and when to step back. In martial arts, power is not constant tension. Power is timing. A strike delivered at the wrong moment wastes strength. A strike delivered in harmony with movement requires little force. So it is with life. When you push while the moment asks for patience, you create resistance. When you hesitate while the moment asks for action, you miss opportunity. Living in rhythm means listening deeply. Listening to the body when it asks for rest. Listening to the mind when it signals overload. Listening to circumstances when they invite change. Those who master rhythm do not appear rushed. They do not panic under pressure. They move when needed and are still when needed. This creates quiet authority. Others feel it without explanation. They trust you. They follow your lead. Because you are not fighting the moment, you are cooperating with it. Force exhausts. Rhythm sustains. When you move in rhythm, life stops feeling like a battle and begins to feel like a practice. The final lesson is simple, yet rarely lived. Stop trying to control the river. Stop trying to fight it. Stop trying to escape it. Become it. To become the river is to move forward without hatred for obstacles. It is to accept change without losing direction. It is to remain powerful without becoming rigid. The river does not announce itself. It does not prove its strength. Yet over time, it shapes mountains. This is quiet power. Self-mastery is not domination of life. It is harmony with it. When you become the river, fear loses authority, because uncertainty becomes familiar. Change becomes natural. Resistance dissolves. You still face challenges, but they no longer define you. You move through loss, through confusion, through success, without clinging. This is freedom. Flow is not something you enter occasionally. It is a way of being. Each moment becomes training. Each difficulty becomes refinement. Each pause becomes insight. When you stop fighting life, life stops fighting you. And in that space, clarity arises. Energy returns. Direction reveals itself. Do not ask life to bend to you. Shape yourself to move with life. That is mastery. That is peace. That is power.